Sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Able Account Transitioning Together workshop. My introduction will be translated by Spanish translators, and then they'll move into a Zoom room. So bear with us.
I might have to go over there.
Welcome, everyone.
Buenos días a todos, bienvenidos al taller. Voy a dar la introducción y luego les voy a poner a todos en un cuarto por separado.
I'm Maria Barber, your host. I work with the Nevada Center for Excellence in Disabilities and Family Navigation Network. You have one of our brochures in your folder, and if you don't, there are some on the back table there. We help families who have children and youth with special healthcare needs to navigate our complex healthcare system. I'm in charge of creating this workshop series that focuses on transitioning your youth to adult age. I have a 17-year-old daughter who has cerebral palsy, so I am deep in this with you.
Buenos días, yo soy María Barber, yo estoy a cargo de este taller. Tienen información ante ustedes en una carpeta. Este taller es para los adultos que están haciendo la transición. Yo tengo una niña que está discapacitada de 17 años.
I know personally how important this period of time is for our kids and how little support has traditionally been given. And I am here to change that.
Yo estoy aquí porque sé lo importante que es para nuestros hijos y que poco tiempo tenemos para ayudarles a hacer esta transición. Yo estoy aquí para ayudarles con eso.
We can't do this without the generous support of our funders. Yes, hey, Gabri.
No podemos
Okay.
hacer esto sin la ayuda de las personas que están fundando esto.
The Nevada State Department of Health and Human Services, Maternal Child Health Bureau, and Nevada Voc Rehab.
Can you say those again?
Sure. Nevada State Department of Health and Human Services,
El Departamento de Recursos Humanos del Estado de Nevada,
Maternal Child Health Bureau,
el Bureo de Maternal
and Nevada Vocational Rehabilitation.
y Rehabilitación Vocacional de Nevada.
Today we're talking about ABLE accounts. A way for your, go ahead.
Hoy vamos a hablar de las cuentas de ABLE.
A way for your loved one to save money without impacting their government benefits like SSI and Medicaid.
Una manera de que sus seres queridos puedan ahorrar dinero sin que les afecte sus beneficios como el Seguro Social y Medicaid.
We'll hear from a couple of experts who will explain what ABLE accounts are.
Vamos a escuchar a algunos expertos que les van a hablar de las cuentas de ABLE.
How to best utilize them and how to set one up.
Cómo utilizarlas mejor y cómo inscribirse y programarlas.
If anybody is interested, we have iPads at the back and you'll be able to set one up today here in person if that's something you just want to take off your plate.
Si alguien está interesado, tenemos tabletas en la parte de atrás y ustedes pueden programar e inscribirse en las cuentas de ABLE hoy mismo.
Our guest speakers are from the State Treasurer's Office, where they administer Nevada ABLE Account Program.
Los oradores son del Departamento de Nevada, tesoreros y administradores de las cuentas de ABLE.
Travis Brewer LaChapelle serves as Deputy Program Officer for Nevada ABLE.
And I'm sorry, what was the name again? I don't see it on the screen anymore.
Travis Brewer LaChapelle.
Travis Brewer LaChapelle es el oficial adjunto administrador de las cuentas de ABLE de Nevada.
He has recently joined the ABLE account team. Travis oversees the implementation of the Nevada Employee Savings Trust Program.
Travis se acaba de unir al equipo hace poco y él está implementando el programa de ahorros de los empleados de Nevada.
As well as student loan assistance programs
así como el programa de asistencia a los préstamos para estudiantes
and the Achieving a Better Life Experience, which is what ABLE stands for, program.
y el programa de ABLE, de tener una experiencia mejor en la vida.
This workshop is super informal, so feel free to ask questions throughout the speaking event. Don't hesitate. You can save them to the end if you want, but don't feel like you have to.
Este taller es muy informal. Si tienen preguntas, pueden hacerlas durante el taller, no tienen que esperar hasta el final.
Join me in welcoming Travis and his assistant or his cohort, Jasmine Bailey, who also just started with the ABLE Nevada organization 1 month ago.
Por favor, denle la bienvenida a Travis y también a Jasmine Bailey, que se ha unido al programa recientemente hace un mes.
Thank you very much for that, Maria. A small point of clarification, Jasmine is actually our program officer with the ABLE program, but the rest of that was spot on. Thank you so much for welcoming us both. As she said, we are new. I'm sorry.
Interpreter, you're muted, I think.
Nope. Travis, we're all set, so you can get started.
I think everyone can see that on your screen here. And Maria did a great job introducing this. The ABLE Savings Plan program is something that's been in place here in the state of Nevada for several years, but only now is recently expanding based on 2 dedicated staff and a lot more outreach to communities. So being able to speak to you and your families about getting more accounts will over time grow this program and in effect lower fees and then increase the access to this program.
Travis, you won't need to pause very long in between, just enough so that, 2 or 3 beats after each statement.
Okay, no problem. I know a lot of questions have come into place about what even is an ABLE account, or is it right for me? Know that ABLE helps individuals with disabilities and their families to save for many daily disability-related expenses on a tax-free basis. It helps preserve their ability to benefit from Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, Medicaid, and other federal programs. An ABLE account is a great option if you're a person with a disability looking for a way to manage your personal finances. You can open and set up the account by yourself and make financial decisions independently. It's also a good choice if you are a family member with a disability, feel like you have limited opportunities for saving money. The key benefits of this program, being able to see a way to save, like putting money away for future expenses or larger qualified purchases without losing those benefits. Large expenditures for people who take for granted, including saving for college. So on the spending side, you're able to use that debit card or a checking account option with ease. And with that program, you're able to keep track of your expenses. The previous vehicle to this with accounts was setting up special needs trusts, which we'll get to a little bit later. But those oftentimes ended up being cumbersome or difficult to navigate. Able is not only cheaper and I would say easier, it also allows for so much more ability on the part of the account holder to maintain expenses, save, work, and spend. A lot of questions go around when it comes to who is eligible for ABLE accounts. First thing I want to note is that individuals of any age are eligible to open an ABLE account for themselves. Keep in mind, an authorized individual can also open an account on their behalf. And we'll get to who can serve as an ABLE support person shortly. But like it says on here, if they have a disability with an onset prior to their 26th birthday and meet the severity of disability requirement in one of two ways. So if you're receiving SSI or SSDI, or if you're possessing a disability certification signed by a licensed physician, stating that the individual's disability meets the marked and severe functional limitations standard stated in the ABLE statute, and that the individual's disability occurred prior to their 26th birthday.
Hey, Travis.
Yes.
Is that age changing? I think I heard that.
It is. Yeah, no, it absolutely is. By January 1, 2026, you will see that age limit increase to 46. It's something easy to remember. It's 46 by 26, right? And that will not only increase the volume of the amount of ABLE accounts we have, but it will in turn continue to lower fees, allow 1 million eligible veterans within the United States to be eligible for these programs, as well as an additional 6 million people that they've estimated are eligible for this program from that age range of 26 to 46. So that growth is exciting in terms of next steps. We're still a little over a year and a half on the way out on that, but being able to see the growth of these accounts and a consistent year by year increase on some of these limits is very exciting. Noting on these questions, or we'll touch on that, but I did want to be able to break down, well, if it feels necessary, I do have like some notes on breaking down like SSI, SSDI, childhood disability benefits, if there are those that have questions on that. What do you think, Maria?
Great. No, that's great. Yeah, if anybody feels like that was something that rang a bell.
Okay. Yeah, and keep in mind, proof of eligibility for any of these programs is not required to open an account. I want to make sure that that note on the bottom of the slide is known.
Travis?
Yes.
This is Kamala. I have a question in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know, where can I find more information about what qualifies as marked and severe functional limitations?
I believe that has to be outlined by a medical professional. We outlined that because that is the need on that, but I'm uncertain I can answer that question.
Okay, will you follow up with us on that? so we can get this out to Gwen?
I may be able to,
Okay,
but I'm uncertain if I'm qualified
okay,
to diagnose
Yeah.
anyone or even mention, marked and severe. But it is what is noted on the Social Security Administration. So
okay. Well, yeah, just, I mean, if they have SSI, they qualify, right? As long as they meet the age,
well,
if they're
and
getting
actually,
SSI.
this is actually what I was looking to break down. So as we're saying SSI, if
Okay,
anyone knows anything more or wants to know anything more about that, supplemental security income is a means tested program, which means that a person must have low income and resources to qualify for those payments.
right. And Jasmine has said that she thinks it's outlined on the website and she's going to provide the link. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. If a person receives SSI, they must be able to report their able account balance activity, since it could affect their eligibility. And the account itself assists in that process, and we'll get to that. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, are benefits for people with disabilities or blindness, and they're based on a person's work history as well as their earnings. A person who receives SSDI has worked enough to be insured, and their benefit amount is based on those earnings, like I was saying. So on anything on that other end, if that doctor has diagnosed you with a disability, sometimes that's referred to as DAC, or childhood disability benefits, or disabled adult child benefits. Sometimes you see that interchangeably. Is based on the parent's earning record. And in a specific case, the parent needs to be receiving Social Security benefits due to retirement or disability. Or if they passed away with not enough earnings to qualify, and then the child receiving those benefits has to have been disabled prior to the age of 22. It's interesting to note, some people receive benefits for more than one program at a time. So some of these overlap. There are a lot of additional, very specific things, but I wanted to go over just the basics that we've kind of received from the Social Security Administration. Bringing it back to this slide, when it comes to proof of eligibility, ABLE programs simply require individuals to certify that they have a disability and they're eligible to open an account. Like, you don't generally have to send in medical records or diagnoses or in order to open that ABLE account. Really what the IRS is asking for is being able to make the proof available if requested to satisfy the disability certification requirement. And that's if it's ever asked.
Yeah, I'll just share a personal example of that. My 17-year-old has went through a neuropsychological assessment and got diagnosed with when they were 17. They're not 17 anymore, but autism and ADHD and anxiety. And I opened up an ABLE account, and it's just about, you just mark a box that says yes. I didn't have to provide that, right? You just have to know that you have the proof if you ever need to show, if it's asked for by the IRS or anybody else. So that's just was my personal, and also with my daughter who has a chromosome deletion, I've never had to show anything. It's just a matter of marking the right boxes when you're signing up.
Appreciate that. The other aspect to it is account owners only have to recertify their eligibility annually, and it's more so asked for, when it's asked for, I should say. Moving along to the ABLE account support person role. There are many different types of individuals that can serve as an account support person. As I stated before, anyone with a disability can open and administrate, their own ABLE account. But an ABLE support person can be an individual, or organization, and supporters can manage, multiple accounts at once, or it's possible to, with power of attorney, if somebody's a conservator, guardian, it could be a spouse, family members, all the way through, and then our a representative payee. Any questions on this in terms of types of individuals?
It's number 4 and number 8 because of the screen on the bottom. We can't read them.
Oh, sorry about that. Number 4 is spouse. So other family members, so parent, sibling, grandparent. Or 8 is representative payee. And I'll keep that in mind for the bottom of my slides. I'll make sure to accurately read those out and make sure you have those. So ABLE savings can grow and be withdrawn tax-free, provided those savings are used for qualified disability-related expenses. Those QDEs, we'll get to the specifics on that, but their classification is very broad in terms of what will allow you to live a better life. The earnings have the ability to grow tax-free. And only increase over time. This question we've had come up a couple times. So you'll see later on that our account limit is much higher than $100,000, but specifically for those that are on SSI, your account limit, as it's monitored, can't go above $100,000 because that's the resource limit. And it's only any amount over this amount that is within that limit. But keep in mind, if that SSI resource limit is exceeded, the benefits will be suspended just until the balance goes back down. So temporarily suspended until the account balance goes below that. And then I wanted to make it clear that in terms of other benefits, that Medicaid eligibility does continue regardless of your account balance. And then based on if you are an account holder from a different state, the Medicaid creditor upon the death of the account owner is a factor, but it's a very specific case that if we're working with ABLE Nevada and you're all Nevada residents, which we'll get to as well, is covered and not really worried about. On the details of that SSI suspension, in case that ever comes across, it is much more well-defined and outlined within the plan disclosure document. But speaking to it lightly, that's overall where it's at. And then on the abilities to get money into these accounts, right? So contributions to an ABLE account has to be made in the electronically or by check format, just because cash is not accepted by any ABLE plan. See, the following are common contribution methods. So you can utilize a check, money order, cashier's check. You can do an electronic transfer. You can make a payment using a credit card. Or those payroll deductions to your ABLE account, so you can check with your employer on that. You can do it through a rollover plan, plan-to-plan transfer, or another qualified ABLE plan or 529 account. And then eGift or UGift, you provide a code from your ABLE account, and you can invite family and friends to contribute online through an EFT or by mailing in a gift coupon with a check. And then there's a gift card that can be purchased through the Gift of Independence as well. So there's a lot of options in terms of being able to put funds into the account, including income tax refunds, it's right on tax time, and unemployment insurance and stimulus payments. Those who do not have a representative payee may deposit a portion of their SSI and or their SSDI benefits into an ABLE account. And we've received on this bottom portion, it says rollover. Can I also roll over the 529 college savings account? Or 529 QTP is what we've sometimes call it. It's a qualified tuition program. Yes, rollovers, as it says here, they can be made to a section 529A, which is what you'll hear as an ABLE account, or A is for ABLE, if the owner of the ABLE account is the beneficiary. So if you're the student or the future student of the tuition account, or you're an eligible member of the family, that amount can be rolled over and is limited to the annual contribution amount of $18,000, which I think is on my next slide, leading in conveniently. So this,
Travis, may I just, I'm just going to add this information in regards to the question that was asked for anybody that is not in the chat. Jasmine indicated where that information is, that the question that I asked earlier. So she says it's on the Nevada ABLE website, which I'm sure you have in your materials, the actual address, but it's at the bottom where it says forms enrollment packets, page 3, for anybody that needs further information on that. Okay, it's forms enrollment packets, page 3. Thank you,
Fantastic.
Travis.
And thank you, Jasmine. Very much appreciated.
Quick question.
Yes, please.
I guess I'm taking away from this that there are no really restrictions on where the money can come from to fund the account. Is that correct?
Actually, I might need to go back to my previous slide on that.
Sorry.
That
money gift, there are really, again, no restrictions on where that money has to come from.
I don't know if I can say no restrictions.
What would the restriction be?
So if you do get the, it can come in as a gift. However, if you deposit it directly, it will count as an income source. So you want to ensure that if someone is gifting you money, that they do it through our UGift. And it's on some slides that's coming up, ways to tell you how they can go about gifting it.
Okay.
But as long as it's gifted directly from someone, it does not count as your income source. It doesn't count against you.
But it has to go through the proper channel.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
So as we were saying before, the annual contribution limit just this year has been raised to 18,000. So that's annually if not employed. If you are employed, there's an extra 12,000 that you can add to your annual contribution limit. As we were saying before, within that, if you're eligible for SSI benefits and you're on them and want to keep those, you would stay underneath that 100,000 limit. But our existing balance limit with the Nevada ABLE account is 370,000. So if you're on SSDI, no limits whatsoever. On the increase, I think we've seen an increase each year. Last year it was 17,000. The year before that, I believe it was either 15,000 or maybe 16,000. But on the ability to put more and more into this, you're seeing a higher capacity and then lower fees year to year as these programs grow. Speaking on fees, this is straight out of the program brochure. I want to make sure that this is as clear as possible, but this was just recently increased on the discounts and lowered on the fees as well. This is often a conversation that surrounds the accounts themselves. If I'm contributing money to this and that open $25 contribution, what will my annual fees look like? And then based on this, if you are a resident of Nevada holding that account, that $125 per quarter translates into $5 annually as a discount. And then on the other side of it, that $8.25 per quarter offsets that maintenance fee to really only be a $7 total. $7 quarterly fee. So it's over time, it's going lower and lower and lower based on, that e-delivery, based on being a Nevada resident. Those benefits of the program have only just recently increased.
This is Kamala. I have a question regarding those fees. Those add up. I'm just to sit there and watch it, just eat away at it. So I'm wondering if there's if it's anticipated that those will continue to go down, or it's just I don't know. It's not a very good feeling to sit there and watch it eating away at the balance that's there when you're not actively adding to it. Like you've put a chunk in there for, say, for instance, from those grants, those $5,000 grants that we got from the COVID stuff, and just sit there and watch it eat away at it, So
right.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about that. And I know I'm not the only one that has concerns about those fees.
Absolutely. The fees actually have been negotiated lower within the last 2 years. The fees have been negotiated to be lower each consecutive year over the last 2 years. So we're part of a network of, I believe it's 18 states in DC right now. And being part of a larger volume of accounts allows us to keep those fees lower and lower over time. They've negotiated lower rates in 2022, as well as lower rates in 2023. And then this is an updated amount on the fee discounts. So rather than that discount of $8.25 per quarter, just months ago, it was only $3.25 per quarter in terms of a discount. So you're seeing a larger and larger decrease on those, on the fees, as well as a larger increase on the discounts. So over time, and then as we're talking about within the year and a half that the age limit increase, think of it in the way that larger volume of accounts means a lower fee for everyone, right? More ability to grow for the accounts overall. So the more people have able accounts, which, like I was saying before, 6 million folks are eligible for that nationally, as well as an additional 1 million veterans will be eligible for that. So you're going to be able to see these accounts grow even more, and then those fees get lower over time continually.
Thank you.
And keep in mind, these are savings accounts, but then there's also 6 available investment types as well. And I'm not a fiduciary. I can only speak toward, look at that program description and then see what works best for you. But this is also considered a market-based investment option as well. So seeing it grow over time and then the fees continually getting lower, I think that will compound. For questions on qualified disability related expenses, if there are, this has been the exact same set of information since I think 2018 is what I'm looking back towards. So this has really not changed over time. It is anything that relates to a disability that helps maintain or improve health, independence, or quality of life. And I think there are a lot of ways that you can demonstrate that. And the way that your account is monitored, the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, or the Social Security Administration, SSA, may monitor an ABLE account to be sure funds are used properly. The only thing we recommend is that you save receipts of your purchases in case you're ever questioned, or in case it ever comes up with the IRS. And then our ABLE program has a way to track your spending if you have a checking account. But we also recommend keeping that record of your expenses related to each disability and how it helped increase or maintain your health, independence, or quality of life, which a lot of ways can be justified. But moving forward, this comes in handy if the IRS or the SSA end up asking any questions, although I have been told that this is somewhat rare. Withdrawing money from your account, there are a number of ways to do so. Checkbooks, while being a little bit more rare nowadays, are still available. The checking account, debit card option, as well as any other, ACH transfers or anything you want to do between different accounts or different vehicles are all available within this. The special benefits rules specifically for SSI and Medicaid. So as I was saying before on that, the balances side of thing with SSI, I want to make it clear that they start counting as a resource after that $100,000. So if you hit that $2,000 limit, then that's where you're going to see an issue on the SSI side. So and then for the housing, like, so say you receive a large large deposit for a housing expense. It's important that you spend that within that same calendar month, because that will get noted or at least checked the first of every month. And if you receive Medicaid, that doesn't have a balance limit, but that payback still applies, just as it applies to any other bank account as an asset. This was a question we received along the way, and I think that it's important to touch on, hey, when is it better for me to utilize a special, or something I've often seen as a supplemental needs trust. You have the ability to use both. One is with special needs trust, they're a little bit more acceptable for that larger annual deposit than ABLE accounts, and you can link it to more or different types of financial vehicles. Oftentimes that large deposit can go into a trust, and then you can connect it and transfer that money to your ABLE account for easy access, or for any specific need. Oftentimes is what I've seen. From what I've, it does feel like several folks that have both see them as tying into one another conveniently. So I'll speak to these just because I know that there's an issue seeing the bottom of the screen, but they are less expensive. So they're often far less expensive to set up and maintain. Ease of access is incredibly important. There's no legal help required in order to set up an ABLE account. You can buy a few more things, and it extends the purchasing power of your existing trust. Your tax benefits, we don't have any state tax or anything else, but there may be, I suppose. The ownership can be established, administered, and owned by the individual with a disability, which is a little bit more empowering, as well as the independent side of things. That empowerment, that independence gives people with disabilities an additional autonomy to save and spend their own money. Any questions on that?
Under ownership, it says can be established, comma, what does it say?
Oh, it can be established, administered, and owned by an individual with a disability. I'll move on to the next. So overall, opening an ABLE account, we'll go through this online platform. And I remember Maria saying that they have those set up there for you within the room. There is a program representative on Monday through Friday if you're going to call and speak. We also have translation services available for any language. And when it comes to direct client contact, these accounts are administered through that national partnership. But when it comes to your experience with them, we're on the ground to ensure that there's any questions need to be answered, or at the very least that you're able to access this in the best way possible. So this is the information of the accounts administered. They also have the ability to speak with you directly on any financial advice. But I would suggest visiting their website, following the instructions to open an account. It really only takes 10 minutes to open, and it also lets you know on the website, anything else that you would need to have available in terms of information. You would choose an eligible beneficiary as well. So someone can be yourself or someone else with a disability. So that beneficiary, like I said, has to have a disability that began before the age of 26. So you choose who's going to manage the account, which is the beneficiary, parent, guardian, servitor. We talked about that a little bit already, or an agent designated through power of attorney. And you can choose how to invest your savings in the account, like we said before.
I have some questions.
Yes, please.
So in the event that the person with the disability passes away, what happens to the account?
What kind of benefits were they receiving?
Let's say they're on Social Security disability, and they pass away. Or SSI, can we know all of that? That would be great to know.
Yeah. Because these are matters of like legal importance, I want to be certain I'm not saying the wrong information, especially on recording. So if we don't know exactly that answer off the top of our heads, we're happy to get it back to you.
While you're looking that up, can you add to that? This question piggybacks on that. Are we a grab back state, payback, whatever term you want to use? Is Nevada are going to take the money if they've received Medicaid and or Social Security?
We've within the alliance, there's the conversation grab back, claw back. We've seen that quite a bit if we're a state that does so. I am under the impression that it's only for account holders from different states that have a Nevada ABLE account. So say, for example, someone was an account holder in Utah and passed away and then had was receiving those benefits. Those are rare circumstances where I think that's still getting navigated, but for Nevada residents, I don't believe so. But to clarify, I think we will have to answer that question. Maybe in a few paragraphs, right?
Right. Yeah. If you guys can follow up, because that's like an involved, I think, question. So yeah.
Well, and it's also one that's still being decided, right?
Meaning the state of Nevada is deciding whether or not they're going to state claim.
Oh no, I meant the ABLE Alliance nationally is working through how do we do this with other states. I think it's a little involved when you're wondering, okay, so if I'm an account holder but the account is based in Nevada but I'm a resident of another state, navigating those networks I think often is the question at the moment. I think individual state policies are.
So you're saying like now they've set it up and they've lived here 5, 6, 7 years, and then 10 years down the line they move to another state. That's where you're seeing the issue where there being a payback is because they moved late in life and now they're still held in Nevada.
Because they're no longer a resident of the state of Nevada. Yeah, if they're a resident of that other state, they're bound by that state.
So if we could ask our legal representative, can that Nevada ABLE be transferred to a Utah ABLE? I mean, should we be transferring it to the state they're living in? Should that be something, is that possible, or is it always just stays a Nevada ABLE? Because you're saying that this is a national ABLE account. It just depends what state you live in.
Well, there aren't ABLE accounts in every state. There's still 4 states that don't have them. And each program is not necessarily like the states without ABLE accounts are Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin. And then all of the other programs are either within a different account partnership, or like there are several different types of account partnerships. I don't want to give you a really long answer for maybe a questionable topic. So I think we'll have to expand on it.
Okay.
If I could
can I-
just clarify, I think that, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think that what we're trying to get it at is determining if we're going to put more money in this or less money according to whether or not when they pass away, if this is going to go back to the state or not. I think that's what we're trying to get at. But you guys correct me if I'm wrong.
So if someone passes away, thank you. I'm sorry. If someone passes away, certain states does not implement the Medicaid payback, of course. I think it's like 5 or 6 states does not. However, the account can be used to pay for like burial expenses and things of that nature. But when you set up an account, if you have a beneficiary, once everything is completed, then the remaining funds will go over to that beneficiary.
So when you establish the account, you need to establish a beneficiary in the event to carry or to cover the cost for like burial and all that.
Correct. If you have one established, they can use that for whatever is in that the ABLE account at that time. They can use that to cover the expenses, and whatever is left over, then the beneficiary will be the one that receive the remaining of the funds in the account.
Can a trust be a beneficiary?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then one more question. If one type of an account is set up now, we have a daughter who's definitely under 18, but then later she needs something different in terms of account type. Is it easy to switch between accounts? Do we have to open a second account, close one account, open the new kind? How do we manage that?
So if she's under 18 and are you saying like her taking possession or ownership of her account after she's 18?
I'm thinking more in terms of account types. Like we feel more comfortable being risky now, but when it's her turn to like do all the things, right? She may need more day-to-day and be pulling more often, that kind of thing. So it might switch from more of an investment situation to a checking savings situation.
So when you initially set it up, you can set it up that way. However, and in those specific circumstances, you can always go in and either call the number, or go on the website and have that changed over.
Okay.
Absolutely. The only time you can change, you have twice a year to change just the investment types. That's the only time you can do that. But to change over from like the investments and the different type of options, yes, you can always do that at any time.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
I have a chat question. This is Kamala, and this one's from Marcia. Will there be tax burdens on the beneficiary upon the death of the ABLE account owner?
That is a great question. Give me a moment to look that up, and I'll have an answer before we get off this call.
I have a question. We have an ABLE account open. It's for a friend who has an ABLE account open. She has an ABLE account open. Her child is non-speaking child, and they have gotten a POA, and you guys have denied them letting her in to help them with this ABLE account because they did not look like the initials on the POA. How do you get around that? What do you do with that?
I think you're muted.
You're muted.
Travis, you're muted.
Thanks for that. When you say the initials on your POA, does that mean like a medical professional's signature, or it just so it wasn't filled out properly and then it got refused?
The initials of the actual person, I guess they didn't like the initials on the POA, what it looked like supposedly.
And then that's why it got denied.
So, I mean, that's a legal binding document. I don't think they shouldn't would be questioning that.
Well, first we're hearing about it, but I think that this is the thing that Jasmine and I are exploring is our relationship with the account managers and the customer service on their side. I think is helpful when it comes to account specifics, but when it comes to accessing these accounts, if there's something you're missing along the way, we haven't had dedicated staff for this program in the state until the most recent legislative session. So I'm only 2 months in, like we were saying before, Jasmine's 1 month in, but now we are on the ground to kind of explore some of these. And if you're having issues with like even the eligibility or that document itself, I think we would want to touch base with you and then maybe have a little bit more of a dedicated meeting, if that's okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Travis or Jasmine, can I connect this mom to you, either one of you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I've got the details.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Travis, when you were just saying that, like in the past, we've customer services, you're dealing with these people in wherever they're at, Missouri or wherever. You're not, we're not dealing with people in our own state. So you're saying that moving forward, we will be able to, because I have had some difficulties with 53.com and or because you got two things there. You got where the checking account is with 53.com, and then if you
Fifth
the
Third
rest of the
Bank,
money,
yes.
yeah, Fifth Third. I'm
Yeah.
I'm saying that website address is 53.com, so my
Right,
brain
right.
goes to the website, right?
Yeah.
And then the money that's invested, because I split them. I did half I did a portion in the checking and a portion in the investment stuff. So, but then yours with somebody else. So yeah, it's been difficult. It was tricky with that paperwork in the beginning, you know, with the supported decision making or whatever, and the powers of attorneys. So yeah, and dealing with people who are not in your state has been tricky. So I guess my question is just, is that moving forward, are we going to be able to have somebody local to help us with things, or is it still going to be customer service with those places?
End of the day, like the customer service is what we like. Maybe I wouldn't say initially point to, but we really want to be able to know what the limitations are of this existing program we're taking over, right? So as this has been implemented, we've been able to do so. And keep in mind, like the Able Alliance, it does keep those fees low. It allows all of this administration of the account. When it comes to account specifics, like they are well taken care of. But when it comes to, you know, any other very, you know, specific need you might have along the way in terms of accessing this, yeah, as Nevadans, we are now on the ground and like in terms of, you know, being able to ensure that you're accessing this to the best of your ability. So at the end of this presentation, we put Jasmine's contact information. I want to make sure you have both of ours in case there's any issues with the access to any of this, because we do want to be aware moving forward how we can improve this program.
Yeah, so like if we keep hitting dead ends, we can reach out to you guys.
Oh, immediately.
Like,
Yeah. No, if you have one problem already with anything,
Okay.
we want to be able to know about it in the first place and then kind of accrue that so that way we can improve the way that Nevadans are accessing Able accounts.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I now see kind of what Maria and Marcia were sort of talking about in terms of this really just being it's a dialogue. This is a back and forth. We're really just trying to get a lot of conversations out of the way, and a lot of you are already Able account holders or have attempted to become Able account holders. So a lot of these issues are going to be very specific. So if my last few slides answer any questions, that's great. But then we're obviously going to stay on afterwards and make sure that we're finding out anything we can. And if there's anything we don't know, we're more than happy to look it up and get back to you right away.
Is there an actual financial institution that's holding these funds?
No. Well, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question. You asked, is there an actual financial institution that's holding these funds? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. This is the program managers that oversee this is called a census, from what I understand. So they are the program manager that oversees like access to these accounts, everything else when it comes to that. Say that one more time.
they're the custodian of the money, that they're, these accounts that they're holding for the people that have them?
Well, and then I believe a lot of it is still administered through that ABLE Alliance. So the host state is Illinois. And we, as a state without any resources to start up this program, signed on to that same program. When it comes to the custodian of the accounts, we as a state don't have like a specific investment manager, no. Because once again, you know, we didn't have the like statutorily any funding to administer this program aside from what we were already agreed to be a part of within the ABLE Alliance, right? So the Alliance has really been the lead for us. We've been, that rising tide raises all ships. We're one of many on it. And then it does allow for some benefits along the way, but like our specific needs and anything else we have on the ground that are major issues, I do want to be able to speak to that more and then expand on in case there's any concerns. The custodian of the accounts, I don't know that off the top of my head. I will have to
So
figure
if
that
you
out.
if you wanted to write a check out of that account, what is that? Is that drawn on a bank? Is it drawn on?
Well, the Fifth Thirds Bank is the checking account
Yeah.
holder.
Okay.
So that 53 they're talking about.
So do they offer electronic payments if you want to do that
Yes.
out of the account?
Mm-hmm.
So you can just go in and set up a payee, and then you can pay it electronically out of your ABLE account.
Absolutely. ACH transfers, everything else. My notes on this screen are actually tied to the last slide that says that, but I'll actually go back for 2 seconds if you don't mind. Because the different types of transfers I can make happen are, the electronic funds transfers, EFTs, those can happen from any bank account or wire transfers. Most other payments other than, you know, cash in an ATM.
I have a couple of follow-up questions then. So is the money insured then? Does it have the federal insurance coverage?
The FDIC insurance coverage is, hold on 1 second. The checking account is FDIC insured.
But
That is
the,
correct.
Investment.
Allow me 1 second here.
who is the running the investments? Like, who's in charge of that, making the decisions on where the money's being invested? Who's managing that?
The management of it is, from what I understand, the ABLE Alliance oversees that. And then we have Eric, who has been involved in this from the get-go, has more involvement on the input side of, you know, those 18 other states in DC to decide the investment portfolio.
And on the thank you slide that we have, it says, it notes Wells Fargo, ABLE Today, and the National Association of State Treasurers. What's the relationship with Wells Fargo? Like, how is that?
The ABLE Today slides that you have there are prepared for other ABLE programs in other states as general information. And the ABLE Today website is a really useful resource, including, from what we've seen, only like one of the only Spanish translation resources out there. So ABLE Today is a great resource when it comes to how ABLE is growing, moving in new directions, and working within these same networks. The National Association of State Treasurers helped implement ABLE Today, and I believe Wells Fargo is a partner of theirs on that program. There's also a podcast for ABLE Today. If y'all are really, really interested in this, that they have a wealth of information, as well as the ABLE National Resource Center. A lot of this information comes from there explicitly. So there's a lot of other deep dive questions. That's where we're going to find out a lot of this on the national level. My FAQ slide's been up for a while. Can everybody read the bottom of that?
We can see it online for sure.
Okay. I have a few more FAQ slides. That benefits verification letter, I know that that was asked about before. And that very specific aspect on, do I have to prove those withdrawals? You should keep the records, but a lot of this will be kept for you with the account. Keep this on the screen for a while.
And this is Kamala. I don't know if in the people who are there in person, if the National ABLE website address is in your materials, but I just posted it in the chat for those of us that are in the chat. And it's ABLE, N as in no, R as in Ralph, C as in cat.org, ABLENRC.org.
And what is that website for?
That is the National Resource Center for ABLE. They have a multitude of videos. They do webinars. You might want to sign up for their newsletter. They have lots of information. And I'm just going to say while we're in a pause state here, for anyone who is through Zoom and you have questions, please put them in the chat and I'll get them asked for you.
Can you read the last line about participation?
Yes, of course. Participation in the member plan does not guarantee that contributions and the investment return on contributions, if any, will be adequate to cover future expenses or that the account owner is eligible to participate in the member plan.
Question about the $370,000 limit, because
Mhm.
15,000, you mentioned 100,000.
Yes.
370,000. Can you clarify the difference between all of those?
Yeah, absolutely. If specifically you're on SSI, I'll go back to that slide. So for this one here, balances over that $100,000 limit will start counting as a resource. That's because those in particular are going to count as the issue. But if you're on SSDI, it is not affected by it. So the only means tested benefits are on the SSI side. So if you aren't qualifying or you're not receiving SSI benefits, then you have the ability to go to that balance limit, provided it's within that same window annually of $18,000 if not working, and then if within the Able to Work program, that additional $12,000. And then on this is the other slide I had that touched on that SSI resource limit. And keep in mind, the SSI suspension, if it does go over that $100,000, that temporary suspension is only until the account balance then goes below that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm new to Able Account altogether and understand when you so when you open up an Able Account, you're opening up the member plan, which is specifically a checking. And then you later open up an investment or you split it and you end up with 3 different accounts, a savings, a checking, and a investment, but all through the basic member plan. Or is it 3 different companies that you apply for 3 different programs?
I don't believe it's 3 different companies applying through 3 different programs. The check, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when I set it up, you do it all through the same place.
Oh, okay.
When you set it up, you're indicating the money that you're initially putting in, you indicate where it's gonna go into the checking or investment. And then you can set it up where any future money that's deposited can be split, and you determine the percentages, like 50-50, 60-40, whatever. And you say this 60% goes into the checking, 40% goes into the investment portion. Now, when you're accessing that money in the checking portion, it is through Fifth Third Bank, which is 53.com, and you get a debit card from that place. I guess you can get checks too, but you get a debit card. And then the investment portion, you monitor and watch through the Nevada Save Able, whatever that website address is. You monitor that through there. But you only have to do that setup one time. And I think you had on one of your screens that you can change it twice a year. So if you don't like what you chose, you just go back in and you can change it.
I'm so new to all this too with her. We're just beginning all this. So let's say it's like, is she gonna have to have a separate account? Like if she needs clothes, or she just wants a 7-Eleven, or she just wants a, is she gonna have to have 2 separate checking accounts now? Or is everything considered for her needs?
I'll pull up the qualified disability expenses for a moment. It is anything that relates to the disability, helps maintain or improve health, independence, or quality of life.
So it's basically that is going to be her checking account. That, I mean, there's always going to be a POA. So monitoring that, as that as me, but later on, if I pass away, then we have to get a new POA. But she's needs new clothes. She needs anything that she wants, her little snacks, or it's grocery stores. It's just, that's my main thing, is because it doesn't really say on there other stuff, her services or transportation, everything comes out of there. So I just want to make sure if I need 2 accounts for her to set up like an allowance, basically.
You can only have one Able account. The checking account is if they are going to be spending or doing anything else. And we've heard other folks utilizing the checking account as we put a decent amount in there so that way they can do individual spending on those. But I want to make it very clear here, like I was saying, all of these categories have not changed in over 6 years. Nothing has been added to this. Nothing has been changed on this. And it really is, once again, think about something that can maintain their health, independence, or quality of life. And it really, to me, seems very overarching of just about anything.
Yeah, I mean, quality of life. I mean, that's just anything can be that. I mean,
right.
Yeah. I just wanted to add with the Fifth Third's bank with the debit card, just make sure you monitor that. And hopefully they have fixed this problem, but we had, for both of my kids, unauthorized charges going through on it. So just keep an eye on it. And that was a couple of years ago. So, and they hadn't even been, one of them hadn't even been activated and it had charges on it. So when you get those, just make sure you're keeping an eye on the charges that are going through on it.
So question, if you wanted to electronically pay a bill, would you have to go to the bank's website to do that and set all that up?
As you were asking more about those ACH transfers before, in order to pay a bill from your checking account.
Right.
That's a very specific question.
Well, I mean, their website is just like any other banking website. So I imagine that feature is there. I didn't use it, but yeah, it's just like if you're going to like Great Basin, it's just like other
So
websites.
when you set up your Able account, does it automatically set up an account with the bank? So you can go to the bank website and see what you've got, and if you wanted to pay a bill through the bank? Because we've
This
not
is the
set up
thing.
an account with that bank.
This is the thing that I know is the account that you'll have with the Fifth Third's bank, you won't be able to go and like walk into the bank and utilize that account. No. But we don't have Fifth Third's banks here in Nevada either.
I know, but how would I electronically, say I had a reoccurring cost that I wanted to set up and pay electronically?
Mhm.
Where would I go to do that?
Oh, do you mean like with
sorry.
bill pay, of course, you use your checking account, your checking routing number and things of that nature? Is that what you're referring to?
No,
Because-
no, okay, so
Someone in the chat just posted it, so
I'm assuming when you set up the Able account, it automatically sets up an account with the bank as well, that you can go in and.
As long as you indicate you want that money to go into a checking account. If you indicate that, yes, that gets set up for you. You don't have to do that.
That answers my
Okay.
question.
Okay.
I have a question about, so when you're setting up this account, it says that a minimum deposit is only $25, but what is, and based on the fees quarterly, even if you're a Nevada resident, only being on at $9 versus the $14, what would be the reasonable amount to start off an account? Like, because if you're gonna do, 25% to
$25 is the required amount to open the account in the first place. Only $25.
And with the fees occurring, so I'm assuming that you would want to set up an electronic deposit on a regular basis. Is that how you would ensure that the fee just doesn't take whatever, you put in there?
That's a good question. If you're intended to have income within this account, I think that it would be right for you. It's like starting it up with only $25 and leaving it there for a while. No, I would not suggest. It does make sense to put some money in there, provided it can withstand, I think, $28 annually with all of the discounts put in. So yeah, if you can afford $28 a year, then yeah, you can afford an Able account.
But you said like if you're putting money in, it counts as a contribution for tax purposes, but if it's gifted, it does not. Right? Did I hear that correctly? Something about the gift link, it would come up later. So if someone wanted to gift money into that account.
I think it has to be.
So with the gift, basically, of course, when you're on SSI, you have that $2,000 a month cap that you have to maintain, you have to stay below, or you're at risk of losing your benefits, of course. So with an Able account, any income that's gifted in there, it does not count as an asset. It does not count as an it doesn't go towards your $2,000 a month cap. So it's a part of that $18,000 contribution that you can save up, if that makes sense, without being at risk. Remember, this is really for those that do not want to be at risk of losing their benefits because they're inheriting money or are having gifts given to them for their quality of life or living and spending and things of that nature.
Okay.
Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Jasmine, piggybacking on that, it's acceptable to transfer I'm my daughter's rep payee, and so we have a rep payee at the bank, the regular bank here in Nevada, to transfer money from her SSI to the ABLE account? I saw some conflicting information about that, so I just wanted to clarify that you can take that SSI money and put it over there.
Yes, yes, you can. You just have to
Okay.
remember that with that money, you only can use it for of course, the qualified expenses.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can your SSI be directly deposited into your ABLE account, or it has to be into a standard checking or savings first?
It's not recommended. It can, but they recommend that even on the Social Security website, it states that they do not recommend you depositing your entire check into the account. So, yes, you can have it go to a different account or however you're receiving it, and then transfer it over, or transfer a portion over for, the expenses, because you have to remember this account is still being monitored for the expenses and how you're spending the money.
And you can set up an automatic transfer monthly or something.
Correct.
We are gonna have to have 2 accounts then for that.
Yes.
I mean, if you're their rep payee, then yeah, you'll need the designated rep payee account.
Who is tracking, so do we have to keep track of the $18,000 versus, I can't remember the other, like 30-something thousand dollars that other people can invest into the account, versus what you put into the account? So how do they know that you put it in for the 18,000 versus that, and when you pull up your account, does it show, okay, you have $5,000 towards your annual, and there's been, 15,000 towards your other one? Is that tracked easily to see?
So with the spending tool that it has on the account, it does allow you to, it will track for you the amount of incoming fees for, of course, if you're able to work, I'm sorry, let me go back. If you're able to work, that's an additional 12,000 that you can save. However, if you are not working, it's the annual contribution of 18,000. And that's total. That's whether it's you, that's friends, that's family, that's organizations, that's gifting money. It's the total is 18,000. But yeah, there's a spending tool that tracks everything for that.
Okay. One is something from this, and the other-
This is
Hi,
Kamala.
I have a,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
Sorry,
you go
Kamala,
ahead.
go ahead. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Kamala. I just
Yeah,
have
go
a
ahead, Karen.
question because this kind of accounts is like an investment. You can, or the people owner is making money, putting money in the accounts, produce more money, or is just keeping there to having access for the money?
Yeah, when do
Yeah.
we see interest on?
There's Carolina, you can set it up whether the money is going into the investment portion of an account or just checking, where if it's just going into checking, it's not going to earn any money. But if you're putting some of it into the investment side of it, you're going to choose whether you want low risk, moderate risk, or high risk. And right now they have been increasing because the stock markets are up, right? Before everything started going up, money was, you were losing money because, things were going down. So, but you choose that. You don't have to have any in the investment portion. That's up to the individual who's creating the account. Did I answer that correctly, Jasmine? Let's just clarify, because I'm like, sorry, I've done this. So
No, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. You have those different options. You have the checking option, the saving options, and then the investment options. And of course, with the investment options, that's how you can go about saving more. However, we want to continue to remind that even with this account, it does not put you at risk of losing your benefits. and allows you to save, even if you're just putting something in your savings account that you're tucking away for a rainy day, or college, or buying a home, things of that nature. So we want to make sure that that's the benefit of the account. It allows you to save without being at risk of losing your benefits.
So is it only the benefit, the saving for don't I just try to say that it is just because you have something to count on it and don't lose your benefits. That's the best benefit the account offer. So it's not like when you go to the bank and put the money to work and it's not like that. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question, because you just mentioned like buying a house. So if you withdrew the money out of there for the deposit, or your down payment on a home, that money isn't going to be taxed?
No, it's a tax deferred account.
Right.
That's the benefit of it. Yeah. So it's the tax deferred account. And then of course, buying a house is definitely improving the quality of life. So it goes for that. Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to back up because I'm really stuck on this one question. And it is because we have an attorney financial planner here in our area that has helped some of us do special needs trust. And they're under the impression that, and they're telling us in this state that with the ABLE account, that when the person dies, the state of Nevada is going to take any money that's left over there in the ABLE account if they have SSI, if they were getting SSI and government benefits. So I just want some clarity on that. And I understand you may have to follow up, but I don't think I ended up with clarity when we were talking about it before. And just because we do have some of the attorneys here in town telling us that that's what's going to happen. So if you could clarify that or give us information we can show to them that says otherwise,
Thank you, Pamela. Many of us in this room were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If you read about it, I think it's only if you're on Medicaid. I don't think it's SSI.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if we've got some, factual written content that we can go off of, whether because we've got two different, organizations and people telling us different things.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And they're entity funds, not government funds, the entities.
So because I don't want to misspeak, I'm still researching that one. I do know that, like they said, that SSI doesn't count, but when it comes to Medicaid, Medicaid can possibly come after and recoup that money. But we were dealing with a little bit of a situation. So let me just confirm before I say the wrong thing. I want to make sure you have the final answer.
Right.
And that's something being that we are just starting up. We will be in touch with certain lawyers and things because we want to make sure that everybody's on one accord instead of telling you one thing about special needs trust and then we're saying something differently.
Right. I mean, and I know a couple of years ago, I did ask Eric when he did one of these, I asked him and he said that Nevada isn't a give back state. So I got that in my head. And then I got the attorney doing the special needs trust saying, no, that's, so just some clarity on that for those of us in this community would be great. And I don't know, maybe get something to all of the financial planner, estate attorneys, so they have the correct information too.
Yeah, that's an important one for me. If it's a Medicaid payback, then I don't want her to have that. I do something that's legally different.
Or trust.
A special needs trust is a trust because Medicaid, all of a sudden she's 21, she's gonna pass away at 60, she'll lose that and all that money is gonna be gone that I, set up for her.
Yeah, so the way we use it is, she has a checking account, right?
Maria, can you speak up, please?
So the way we use ours is that we have an ABLE account that we're pooling some funds in from other resources other than Lila. And she has her own checking account, and then we have a special needs trust, and the trust will be our investments. Right? She won't touch that. That'll grow for her lifetime. We will put very little in the ABLE account for her to be able to use for resources, because I believe it is a
Makes sense.
Medicaid payback. And then we will grow the special needs trust. So anything you want for her lifetime would be protected in the trust, and there's no limit.
So you just use it for a checking account, basically.
And you use it
Basically.
because better documentation for IRS.
Yes.
Documentation and stuff, so that you can't. as a
Well, and
parent or-
the other issue that I have a concern about is that, you know, we're talking about our children in another 30, 40 years of their lifetime. We have no idea who they're gonna be living. For some of us, we don't know where they're gonna be living.
Yeah.
Or who they might, what state they might be living in. If
Yeah.
my child had to go to family in another state, and that state does, oh yeah, or country. Medicaid does buyback there,
Right.
then doesn't matter if I open the account in Nevada.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
And
Well, that's
You'll
the
be,
thing.
you'll be gone.
that's why I think
Hey,
Right.
I wouldn't
Um,
know.
that's a whole different story with housing. Like I just became a host family for housing.
Oh, good.
If something happens to me, I'm a family host home, but if something happens to me, she's already with a housing, you know, with Dungarvan as housing, so then boom, she gets stuff taken care of for her, you know, like I said,
Right.
at the beginning, SSDI, insurance, access, I mean.
There's so
everything
much.
is So much.
There's so
But
much.
just beginning
Hey,
transition.
Hey, Kamala,
for-
one sec.
Travis, okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so, many people have mentioned housing with the ABLE account and how those are connected. There is a Zoom through ABLE NRC happening next week about housing and the ABLE account. So I will send you all the Zoom for that. Okay, go ahead, Kamala, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Travis and Jasmine, what I wonder if it's possible to put together some kind of survey to send out to this community that addresses some of these concerns, and if it can be, you know, shared with the national ABLE place. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a thought. I mean, we see so many times that this is really helpful that, you know, when there's confusion or we want to give our input about things, these surveys come in handy to gather information.
Yeah, I think we'd love to work together on that. Knowing that everyone here has very specific concerns, maybe not ones we can answer immediately, but yeah, being able to keep in touch on those and note upon them and yeah, get that final answer. Yeah, we would absolutely love to do so.
Yeah, I believe we have a meeting next week with the ABLE Alliance. So these questions that we can't get the answer for today, we definitely will be able to ask those questions and get, you know, clarification for you all by next week for sure.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Yeah, that's great.
Can you tell us what the most common issues are that people face when first opening these accounts? Like questions come up or concerns?
So because I know they stated we're very, very new in this you know, with the program, we have not really gotten much feedback on the problems that or the issues or concerns that, you know, people are facing. So we would love that from the ones that do have accounts. But as of right now, we haven't gotten too much feedback. The feedback that I've gotten just with outreach and things of that nature, the ones that do have accounts are happy with the accounts. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. If I could interject, I think one of the biggest things that comes up is kind of what Russ was touching on. How do I access this account? We're sending this money to a random place, can't go into a bank. We're not holding anything, right? It's not tangible. So I think that's the biggest question. It's just super easy.
Yeah. One of my, when I was creating Lillian's account, I mean, they set it up wrong, so they had to redo it. So that was just one thing I encountered, you know, because we've got, you know, I'm her rep payee and I've got the power of attorney. So, you know, there was just a lot of stuff involved, but they fixed it. When those random charges showed up on the debit card, I had difficulty with Fifth Third Bank. Now, this wasn't who I set it up with, right? Because you're going through that Nevada Save with Able account, but they wouldn't talk to me. I said, you have my power of attorney. I'm her power of attorney. And I said, this is an Able account. It's with them. She's like, they wouldn't talk to me. She said, you have to call them. And I called them. They said, no, they don't know what they're talking about. You need to call them again. So I just called and said I was Lillian, you know, because I don't have time for all that shit. So, you know, I mean, you've got the power of attorneys, man. I don't know what to tell you. They're in there. And so anyway, that was a problem that I had. And I don't know. I don't like that Fifth Third. That's my opinion. I don't like them. I've had difficulty with them. Actually, I took all of Thomas's money out of that one. Yeah. That'd be a good thing to include on the survey for parents who have already set up the accounts. Yeah, to ask, you know, what kind of issues they encountered or, you know, anything like that.
And I think I back up on your comment, Camila. It is that, yes, they don't want to talk to us. They just, once when they turn 18, they can even manipulate it or something else, because it happened to me too. I tried to ask questions, say, no, this account is for Alex. No, it is not you. You have to, I have he's underage, so I'm the responsible too, right? He's not already 18. And he just mentioned, no, you are not Alex. Wait until he's 18 and you can making him talk to us. And I wonder if the people have a kids that don't talk, that they don't able to express, how that can be possible, you know? Making you responsible for the kid, but don't making you have the benefit of talking for them. So
maybe there needs to be training, Travis and Jazz, to Fifth Third Bank.
That's what I was going to suggest. It's just a matter of training and having people on there that don't that haven't been trained fully on the types of accounts that they have at their bank.
Or have it as a special, they have a special customer service program. AT&T had it, you know, Singular's had it, you know, all these places have where you go to a special section and you only talk to those 10. Maybe you have to be on hold for 15 minutes to wait till they're open, but at least you're talking to someone who's trained at that bank specifically on these accounts.
Right.
I'd rather be on hold than be told no.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm understanding here is that, for, you know, like people with disabilities don't really have the opportunity to build any kind of retirement plan or later in life needs and resources, but it sounds like that this really meets that specific need of kind of having a retirement plan. I know when you're on disability, you're kind of already drawing the benefit, but there's, that is a fixed income that does not grow. But like what the 1 or 2%, a couple dollars you get annually. So this allows you to invest for the future so that the means difference between a fixed income and what the cost of living is can be accommodated for the person.
Yep.
And that's the impression I'm getting that this will do for the disability.
It can, yes. Remember, it's a payback. It's a Medicaid payback.
True.
So
it depends on how long they live.
Yes.
And it depends if you're working. So if you've got a job that they may have their own insurance, but like mine and they'll only work so many hours.
Right.
They're only gonna, you know, they're always gonna be on Medicaid.
Right.
Right.
So that's where I'm starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, I warned you.
I'm concerned about saying the wrong thing. However, I am typing out every single question that everyone is asking right now. So I am very focused on that idea you had to make sure that we are, you know, putting out a survey or at the very least working with y'all to access these programs. I mean, to me, this feels kind of like a workshop to knowing what ABLE has been like for you so far moving forward. We want to be able to improve that, especially when it comes to the relationship or even how we administer the program.
So Travel, you be more learning from this workshop than us. That's what you try to say?
A little bit, to be honest, right? We are 2 months. I'm learning a lot more from you than what I could find online. So, or at even from the administrators. So, like being able to know your experiences, especially with Fifth Third Bank. I mean, we can take that back to the Alliance and really know that, you know, based on your input, it means we need to gather more input from all able account holders within.
So it's win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win
Yeah,
for all of
win-win.
us.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Win-win. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I just have to say, I mean, just the information or the air about able accounts in the financial planning community and the estate planning attorneys is they don't like them. And I mean, I'm not just talking about here locally in Nevada. When I am at a national conference and there is future planning sessions, they are just, you know, very cautious. Like if you use it, don't put a lot of money into it. You got those fees eating away at and because, you know, the money will be grabbed back, taken back, the Medicaid buyback stuff. So yeah, so if they're that's just what's out there beyond what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And look, they are running a business themselves. I think that they definitely want to see more special needs trusts out in the world. So they have a vested interest in that. So I think because able accounts at sometimes can be at odds, they would have a very particular perspective on that. But it is incumbent upon us to have the exact accurate information as to be able to refute that. So, and keep in mind, we are not intended to be your financial advisors in this regard, but we do want to be able to speak to exactly what the confines of the Able Nevada program can and can't do.
I'd like to see some actual hard documentation if it is a payback state as far as the funds go.
The thing I would be able to speak to is how often that occurs. The one thing that Eric did mention to me, and like you were saying, Eric was on this presentation years ago, saying that this it does not happen here in our state. I think it's about the mechanisms that allow it to happen in the first place, and sometimes that's either de jure, de facto, right? It's either based on what's written down or it's based on what actually happens. And so I think what we can speak to is how often this is occurring or could occur. And then the only cases we've seen or even heard of is when they are based in another state. And that is the thing I can say with accuracy so far.
20 years from now, 10 years from now, 2 years from now, pass away, and then something gets changed, and I put all this all this in paper to go this way, and then this way. And so you never know what the future's what's gonna happen.
For certain, and what's nuts is it depends on the state, right? So if it was one state, it could be, and if there's another state, it might not be, right? So you really have to be able to navigate that to the best of your ability. And there isn't really good documentation out there on that as of right now. I think it's because it's still, like I said, it's still kind of getting decided on the interstate side of things.
Okay, we have a couple more questions over here.
Please.
Well, I wanted to speak to something, then I have a specific question, but so my father was on Social Security disability when he passed. He had a sum of money, and the state had a right to claim back it because he was on Medicaid services. And I worked with Medicaid, and Medicaid said that they released their right to do that, and they didn't claim anything back. And then I also my second attempt to go back into the workforce. Medicaid had, and I got a settlement for something, I can't remember what it was about specifically, but then they did the same thing. They said, we had that right, we reserved that right, but we are not going to take claim to it. So just in my life, I've had 2 situations where they've chosen not to take claim when they had a right to take claim. So I think that the right is there, but how often they do it, I don't know. In my life, they have not. And then I do have a very specific question, kind of my situation, but so just my medical is over $100,000 a month. And so I'm on Nevada Medicaid, which pays the difference between what, Medicare doesn't pay for that. So that's a big deal. But if I earn even as much as $40, it would take me off of Medicaid. So I have an earning potential where I could earn some, but I'm not able to work because a $40 difference would cause me to lose Medicaid, which is over $100,000 monthly of medical costs. And so in this situation, I understood from the employer side, could I potentially work, even if it's like $100 extra a month? That'd be huge for me. So could I do that and they pay directly into an ABLE account in order to allow me to still have my mental storage? And yeah, and it's not just me, there's a lot of people in that situation. My
Yeah.
medical is astronomical. There's my earning potential, nobody needs over $1 million annually in medical costs. So, wow, but I am capable of some work. And I mean, I'm a licensed
Especially now
clinical
with all-
social worker.
Especially now that everything's, remote.
Yeah,
There's so much
exactly.
remote work.
I could do therapy online and do a lot of various, but I'm not able to because of the way the system's set up. So does that help me?
Okay, I have something here. I think that is somewhat helpful when it comes to the. I think I can share my screen back here. Just allow me 2 moments. On the ABLE accounts and that Medicaid payback, there is what is referred to as state discretion. And I was going to share my screen on this, but I'm just going to read it out loud. But it's theoretically possible that a state's Medicaid program will elect not to seek payback recovery from ABLE account holders who are residents of that state, which is the specifics on that. Now, see, when considering which ABLE program to select, the payback situation in each state is where you're going to receive those Medicaid services from. So you have to navigate each state, and then bear in mind if that ABLE account is set up in a state that elects not to seek payback recovery from a resident account holder, a lien will be applied to that account holder that moves to another state, which is a long drawn out way of saying what I said before. But we have, I would say, 7 links on this subject from there's a document from HHS back in 1995 when they started to look at the history and outlook of what they referred to as Medicaid estate recovery in states. And it was this idea that back in the 90s, hey, we can get a lot more money for government services, or we can get a lot more money back in order to kind of claw this money back. That's where the clawback came from. And then only now, as of 2021, there was a report to Congress on how Medicaid estate recovery disproportionately affects people who need it most, AKA the people who don't know how to navigate these accounts. Right. So those that already have a lawyer with an estate trust and everything else, they already have navigated this to the best of their ability. And it's you asking these questions to say, okay, well, I need help to figure this out. You would be affected by this Medicaid estate recovery. So currently on the national level, they're looking at ways that we can change this, but ABLE is still a very new program, and it's currently only barely 10 years old at this moment. I would love to share all these resources with you, and I will send those over to our hosts. So that way, if you really want to go into the deep dive nationally on this, and then is our state electing to do it? No, our state does not elect to seek payback recovery from ABLE account holders who are residents of the state of Nevada, because that is what we can control.
Thank you.
Hey, Travis, to clarify, I don't know if this was what was being asked, but if not, then to just add on to that. If a person would like to work, and like we'll use her number for 40, she earns $40, and it's going to end up knocking her off of receiving those services that are vital for her or whoever we're talking about. If that money that is earned is put into the ABLE account, can they do that without losing their benefits? Or because of it being an income, is it going to knock them off with their income limits of receiving those benefits? Did I ask that in a way that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm sorry, I may have lost you on that. Can I clarify your question for a second?
Yep, go ahead.
You're asking if a person receiving income will lose their benefits if what now?
If they go over the income limit. So say they just use a number, say like you can't earn more than $1,000 a month, or you're going to lose your benefits. So they can take a job that's going to give them more money, but it's going to knock them $40 over that $1,000 a month.
Right.
Does it matter that if that money goes into an ABLE account, will it still make them lose their benefits regardless of where that money is being deposited?
Regardless of where that money is being deposited within
Yeah.
their ABLE account, like, so either it's checking, investment, savings, or anything else on that ABLE
Right.
side, or, okay.
Right. So it's essentially their income is disqualifying them, right? Because they're making more than what SSI, whoever it is, Medicaid or whatever. Medicaid says you can't make more than this amount or you don't get services.
Mhm.
But the person wants to work, right? And so
Yeah.
they, will it allow them to keep the benefits if it goes directly into an ABLE account instead of into their regular account?
I see what you
That's
mean.
probably one that needs to be, that's pretty, I mean, you might need to
Oh,
look
no,
into
if-
that some, but
If they go over their existing amounts, it only temporarily suspends, from what I understand, right? So,
okay, so yeah, they wouldn't be able to have it being a steady thing.
yes,
if you-
exactly.
If
ahead.
you
Yeah, because I
look
think-
at
I'm
slide
sorry.
8. Go
Slide
ahead.
it, let me go back to it.
No, I just gonna add, it's because the income is the income. You reported the income, the check that you receive every week to this service, the SSI or whatever they are sending to report it. So you can change in that situation to make it no be an income if it is no and you pay check. It's no way that it's like when they take it away the taxes or the Medicaid payment, they don't count that money. But in reality, they count whatever it is, no matter where they go. The money where you put in the saving or in whatever, they just focus on the money you make from job or from anywhere. That's as I understand. That's why I have the limitation of work and limitation to do anything because you are receiving a service. And that is their all focus.
Unless they maybe gifted it to you through the new gift link.
Right. I would just say there's a gray area there. You can get contracted and it can be gifted to you and then it's not a service. That, you
I
know,
mean, that would,
it's like
Well,
doing
keep in mind,
Venmo, you don't put what it's for, because Venmo is considered income, you always put like an emoji. And
Well,
then
see, that's why we have to get all crafty and like
it's-
just do all this
Yeah.
stuff I'm not even gonna say, right? Okay, gotta get creative.
Yeah, so that's what you just said too, get
Well,
creative.
Probably doesn't matter where it goes, they wouldn't, you're gonna get taxed on it at the end of the year. right?
Yeah, Travis and Jasmine can cover their ears, right?
I'm hearing you need some clarification on the types of contributions and their limits, and then if I go over those limits, what happens, right? Is really what I'm hearing. Especially when it comes to this one here, the if I'm employed and I go over this 30,000 a year, what is happening at that point? Like what mechanism gets curved at that moment?
Yeah, so you could be a corporation and they could be.
Thank you, Travis.
Mhm. We will make note of that, and
Right.
I want to be able to give the most accurate information on.
Yep.
I also wanted to be able to provide
Yes.
the final slide, most important one. Jasmine's information's on the bottom of this one. Make sure that y'all stay in contact with us. We need to hear absolutely everything. And yeah, sure, if you have any more questions, we're happy for it. But no, this is it's important that we make this more of a dialogue moving forward. We want to let you know that all questions are welcome. And we also want to make you somewhat aware that we may not know it immediately, but we are dedicated to finding these things out.
Hey, Travis, it seems like the PowerPoint that we sent out is not exactly what you presented. So if you could send me the link to the one you're actually used today, and I'll send it out to everybody.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because I was crazy. I say I don't see the same thing that he's showing it. I don't see it. I looking in through the slides and it's no way
Right.
I can find it.
We wanted you to have that information. We thought it was very important. Were you able to get the slimline or the brochure, the ones that are able, like specific for our ABLE accounts? We will include those links as well. Those do give a lot of specifics on the account, but they're not going to answer those questions that you have in terms of like, well, what if this happens? What occurs? What can I do? You know, like those really specific questions. I think we can definitely go back with and make sure we answer those in advance. And yes, absolutely, we want you to have access to all of these slides, all of this information. And then yeah, if for the basic information that we found already when it comes to Medicaid estate recovery or any other specifics on fixed income or UGIFT or anything else, yeah, absolutely. We want to be able to share as much as we have, and then if any other additional questions occur, I love the idea of being able to create a survey for those that are already on ABLE accounts or those that are interested in having an ABLE account in the first place.
Yeah, I think 2 different surveys or one survey that has both sections. I already have one or don't have one. And then from the chat, Hannah says, thank you to Travis and Jasmine. This has been so helpful. And I agree. Thank you. And thank you for letting us be able to say what we need to say and ask what we need to ask in an open and welcome environment. And I will say my personal opinion is just to, just diversify. Go ahead and have the ABLE account. Just don't put a heck of a lot of money in it, but put enough in that it will balance out with those fees. And to have when you're able to have the special needs trust as well, because it just has a different purpose and it serves a different purpose. I think if you balance it all out and that's just my personal opinion.
Does anybody have any final questions for Travis and Jasmine? Not that we already. Oh yes.
Has there ever been, following up on your thought, a session that talks about ABLE versus special needs trust and how these work together, and then what may be the most appropriate for different situations? Is there classes, or is that something you will offer in the future?
There's a really great guy here in town that talks about trust, special needs trust, but it's $4,000. I don't have $4,000. You got to pay for the attorney fee. Just don't have it.
Travis, did you hear that?
Yeah, I absolutely did, and okay. I think that that it's useful if you can, but at the same time, this provides that ability to navigate that, like we're saying, without the need for a lawyer and without the need for any of that, right? So it's going to allow more access to this for those that don't have the ability to navigate financial vehicles.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we were able to have a session with the special needs trust attorney and you guys.
Your January
have one together, right? And in regards to those attorney fees, that's what kept me. I've had this on my to-do list for, I'd say, 10 years, right? 10 years it's been on my to-do list. I just finally did it. And I was able to, they split the payment into 3 separate payments for me. So I'm not ask for what I need. So if that fee is too much, ask if there's anything that can be done, or if you can do some of the stuff yourself and knock some of that fee down. Because that is also, I got the fee lowered because I'd already done some of the stuff.
So for those who don't know, Special Needs Trust was our first workshop in January. And it was amazing.
It was great.
Yeah. So I can send you the contact information for the speaker and he'd answer any questions.
What's that?
Andre Sam.
Yeah, I've talked to him. He is amazing.
Andre's great. There are a couple people in town also, because not one person works for everybody. So I'll just send out all those names. Okay.
And if you've got dual special needs kids, it's one payment and he takes the whole family.
Oh, that's huge.
So it's huge.
Yeah, we did everything. We got one for the son, one for both my kids. We got the family, one living trust, will, everything. Yeah. So I'm relieved now.
And so I bet ABLE NRC, there's probably a webinar already on Special Needs Trust ABLE. I'll look it up on all the resources I have as well. And I'll put that on my list to send that out also. Well,
Thank you.
go ahead, Travis.
Thank you so much for having us. The special needs trust specifics in terms of like how can they work together. I like the idea of exploring that a little bit more moving forward as well. With what we can. Thank you so much for this. It really gave us a good understanding of what steps we need to take next. And yeah, do a lot more with, to be honest. So
Yeah. So
this
just
will not.
you all, oh, sorry, Travis.
No, please go ahead.
In December, our topic is going to be financial literacy for individuals with IDD. So maybe special needs trust and able comparison comes into that financial literacy as well.
Yeah,
So we'll
that's-
consider how we can set that up.
Yeah. And considering you had Andre in January and then us here, maybe at the end of the year, we can all come together and figure out how they all fit together would be nice.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Travis and Jasmine. So really appreciate. I think we all learned a lot from each other, which is great, right? The idea of all these workshops is not that we have a presenter that speaks at us and we all go home. Like that doesn't serve any of us. I've been to 10 of those, right? And I go home and I don't do anything. So the idea is that we've got the experts here to ask all the questions we want. Special needs trust, I think he had 8 to 10 people get going with their trust after that because he's a multi-topic presenter. So he would have come to us about everything. I said, nope, you are keeping it to trust. These are single topic workshops so we can do just this.
Right.
I mean, it went 2 hours but easily and he was just dumbfounded. But it was helpful for us, right? So I have gone through and asked all the families, what do you need? When will you come? Right? Because we want to make an impact on the community. We don't just want to say we're having these workshops and, pat ourselves on the back. So if there's any topics that any of you go, oh gosh, I just don't know about this, send me an email. Totally. Because that's what this year is about, is making sure that we all get this information. So our next topic is May 4th. And it is housing for individuals with IDD after the age of 18. So by housing, we also mean shared living provider in our own house, right? Host home, PCAs, group homes. Betty's Village is going to be there from Vegas. And then we have a family here in town that's considering starting an IDD living community. So they will be speaking as well. SRC will be here to say what resources they have to offer. So it's going to be a full, 2.5 hours, but full of information that we all it's hard to get, right? So I'm holding our presenters to some pretty high standards and they're all meeting them. So thank you, Travis and Jasmine. In order to keep all of this information relevant and to make sure that we're impacting the community how we intend to, we've got a survey that Marsha is going to put a QR code up here in a minute. And so please fill out the survey before you go, if you would, so we can make sure that, we're serving you all well. Take a minute to do that.
We'll both jump off. Thank you both so much. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria, can you stand in front of the camera when we come back to you?
Oh, sure.
We hear your voice and you're kind of this ethereal being out there.
Trying to avoid that, but yes, I sure can.
Maria, is there ever an opportunity to have Medicaid?
SSI?
Oh, I would know Medicaid payback. If Medicaid space, like.
There are limits on what.
Yeah.
I'm here to Nevada program or welfare.
Yeah.
So I can talk all that smack.
I have been trying to get someone
Maybe blush.
since
My contacts are all retired.
last August. I have been trying to get someone to come and talk about it.
Because me
I
on
can-
my programming side, I didn't work the counter, so I didn't work the tablet. But I worked problems with the coding and all of that.
Yep.
I turned it all off when I retired. I'm turning with grip. Turned it all off when I retired, but it's like,
Oh, it's
I
not
didn't
me.
know this stuff existed. I had my fingers in the pot.
Right. Okay, give me 1 second. Thank you all so much. Oh, Marcia, do you wanna? Oh, that's fine. So here in the room, if anybody wants to start an Able account, I have iPads set up back there to do so. It takes like 10 minutes. I also have the paperwork. If your loved one is under the age of 18, you have to send in the paper version. If your loved one is over 18, you can just do it electronically. So I can support with that in the back if you're interested. And thank you. Thank you for coming. So hopefully we'll see you all on May 4th.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Yeah, Marsha, don't hang up on me, okay?
Yes.